about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is the New Hampshire High School Basketball Show.
This is a second coming. This is a call to arms. Your finest hour won't be wasted.
The New Hampshire High School Basketball Show is brought to you by the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement.
Right now, it's not about talent, it's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest, who can go out there and play the smartest. Now, they've been here before, so they're not going to give it to us. We got to go out there and we got to take it.
And now your hosts, Pete Terrier.
But I have a question, though. Those 2 foul shots, the end of the game, did you miss them? Or did you miss them?
Not exactly a shoot question, is it?
And Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com.
All season long, we played our game. Right now, you're playing theirs. When we step on the floor, every second that clock is ticking, we are pedal to the metal. We run the ball. We pressure the ball. And most importantly, we control the tempo of the game.
This is gonna hurt.
Good morning and welcome to Championship Saturday, at least edition 1 of Championship Saturday on the New Hampshire High School Hoops Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7. Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com. Championships will be crowned in Division 4 and Division 3 boys basketball today. Next weekend, it'll be a doubleheader, Division 1 and Division 2 out at UNH. Dave, you're getting set after the show to make the trip up north on 93 to Plymouth State University, where you'll see Epping and Wilton Lineborough go at it for the championship in D4. That should be a lot of fun.
Are you losing your voice? You
I'm
get the golden. Listen, we're in the middle. We're in the 7th inning here, man.
This is Wolfman Jack. We're bringing it to you live.
Do you think all the Division 1 people are like, excuse me, are you going to come to our games? Like,
hey.
We've been handling the lower divisions, but
hey, I'm headed to Derry tonight. I'm going to go see Pinkerton and Pembroke tonight.
A lot of people think Pembroke can win that game.
Hey, it's going to be a great basketball game. You got the Division 1 quarterfinals going on tonight. D2 quarterfinals were last night. There was a champion crowned in Division 1 girls last night, and we got it covered for you. The 4 games last night, the D2 boys quarterfinals. Really not a lot of end-of-the-game drama.
Not a lot of intrigue.
No, not a lot. So we'll talk with a couple of coaches vying for championships throughout the course of this program over the next hour. Eric Saucier, head coach of the Conant Orioles. Who knew that they were going to be back in the championship game again? They lost a lot off last year's team. And people thinking, oh, this ain't the same type of Conant team. Well, what do you know? They're in the championship game for the 3rd straight year. We'll talk with Coach Sauce at 8:20 this morning. And then Matt Regan from Pelham. Can they complete the unbeaten season in Division 3? Everybody has been complaining about them not belonging in Division 3. Well, they got to go out there and take care of business today at Southern New Hampshire University. That's a 3 o'clock tip time. And I'll be out there with the NHSportsPage.com video camera after you and Sam Natty take the reins for the D4 final game up in Plymouth State.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I kind of flipped. I thought Wilton was my favorite. By the way, my midseason snapshot, I picked Wilton versus Epping in the final. I like to pat myself and take the opportunity to pat myself on the back.
Great job.
Thank you very much. And my number 1 preseason Pinkerton, how's that looking
They're
so far?
still alive. They're one of 8 teams left.
Shabby.
Well, why don't we go down the scoreboard from the Division 2 boys tournament last night, quarterfinal action.
I don't see a Guilford score on
Yeah,
it.
they didn't. Well, they're not in the championship.
Did you give me the right
game.
paperwork?
No, you got the right paperwork. Our scoreboard, as always, brought to you by our friends at the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission, the Division of Enforcement, and that Buyers Beware campaign, reminding all adults it's against the law to provide alcohol to minors, even if you win a championship and you're having a championship celebration tonight, whether it's in Wilton or it's in Epping, maybe it's in Pelham or out there in Jaffrey. just don't have a big party and provide alcohol for the kids. It's against the law, and you can serve jail time and be fined big time for doing it.
God, you're scaring people. This is a basketball. It's a family show. By the way, there's only 2 teams that can do that silly little undefeated dance with you left, and one of them could be today. You could be doing the undefeated dance. Not that you're rooting. We understand. No rooting interest between Conant and Pelham. But the undefeated dance could happen today.
It's in my back pocket, Dave.
Ready.
It is in my back pocket
All
and
right.
ready.
So we were at 3 games last night. I didn't have a camera with me, but I was at Portsmouth last night. Portsmouth doubled up Hanover early and cruised to a 53-38 win. Perfect for Jim Mulvey in that his team was up huge and then didn't play well in the fourth quarter, so he could still be angry about it and find something to get mad about. So there you go. Joey Glenn, 18 points, 14 rebounds. Sean Parham played very well for them. Charlie LeHue, 17 points. So Portsmouth is on to the Final Four for the 7th time in 9 seasons. Is that not unbelievable?
That is great. I mean, he's got himself a program there.
Oh, yeah. In that team, Joey Glenn's a sophomore. Yeah. Sean Parham's a sophomore. Cody Graham's a freshman. They're not going anywhere. So
perhaps they're 3 of their best players.
Yeah,
Charlie LaHoo is a senior.
And Loden Formicelli.
Yeah.
2 very valuable, very good guys. And Devon, too. But they got a couple other kids coming up, so they're not going anywhere for a while. Lebanon, Keith Matty's team, 3rd straight. Remember when Keith Matty couldn't get Lebanon to the Final Four for a few years? Remember when everyone said that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a long time ago. 3 straight appearances for Keith Matty, so congratulations. KJ Matty was 16. Ryan Milliken, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 5'9", 9 rebounds, and that front line from Merrimack Valley is huge, 67-54 win. They sold out that game last night.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen this kid Milliken play and you're going to be planning a trip to Durham on Wednesday night for the semifinals.
That's the second game, by the way.
Yeah, so that's Portsmouth-Lebanon, the
rematch.
1 versus 4. Yeah, a rematch, and you're going to love Ryan Milliken because the first time I saw him, I was like, wow, this kid, because the little man, everybody roots for the little man, the small, the underdog, so to speak, and he's got underdog written all over him, but he doesn't play like one.
That's why we all cried at the end of Rudy. The game that Pete Terry was at last night, Bishop Brady, 71-47, a lot to a little over Wyndham. They end it for Wyndham. A lot of people thought this was going to be a tight one, but Brady...
That's why I decided to go there.
Yeah.
Thought it was going to be a good game.
Brendan Johnson with 27 points. Jordan Bell doing Jordan Bell-type things. Lots of assists, rebounds, 20 points. They pretty much had a balanced attack after that. Quirk had a good game. Joe Bell only had 2 points, but it doesn't sound like they needed too much. Carbonello, I know they held him, the point guard for Wyndham, in check for quite a while. I think he ended with 13, but big win for Brady. A lot of people think it's going to be Brady and Portsmouth marching towards that rematch. We'll see, though. Brady with the win. So congratulations, Jordan and Joe Bell going to Durham for the first time.
I know. I
was
just thinking
there.
About that.
And
yeah.
Cole Etten, want to congratulate Cole Etten, somebody who supported us here with a donation. Has been great to us in his first year. He was our first guest of the year. Second guest of the year. Matt Lemieux was our first.
And it's funny because when I was doing the post game on the
he
video,
said he put cones for us, right?
Excuse me?
He put cones up for us over there?
Yeah, I talked to Andrew Lathrop, the AD, in the afternoon, and they had it all blocked up for us, reserved for any sports page. I felt
That's right.
real important.
They take good care of us.
But when I was interviewing Cole Etten after the game, and he's 24, but he's very polished.
Oh, yeah.
24-year-old.
Has to be.
And when I said, hey, your team and the way you play with those ball handlers and the great passing and the shooting, and you can get up and down the floor, you got to really like how this kind of translates to the way your team plays. And you should have seen the smile break across his face when he started thinking about getting on that big floor with Jordan Bell running the offense.
There are some teams that it's a real advantage to get on that big floor, and they are one. A lot of people say that about Jordan Litz. The more room he's got to operate, the better, and Jordan Bell is going to be a lot of fun up there. I guess we can touch upon it real quick, but I said to somebody 10 days ago, boy, I can't wait to watch West play Brady at Durham.
Me too.
And it's just... It's that one night, and Central beating Trinity by like 25 during the season. Trinity's around, Central's gone. Central beat Bedford by I think 30. Bedford's around, Central's gone, and the whole Mario Conte thing. I touched on it a little bit in my preview this morning, which is up on the site. So we have the Division 4 championship preview, the Division 1 quarterfinal preview. And then the 2 games. I know John Kessy's game is up there, the Goffstown game with with McIsaac. And Jen Chick working on the game you did, but crazy. We'll get into it, but crazy. 15 over 2 in two different.
When
divisions.
have you ever on any bracket seen a 15 versus 10 in the second round?
Yeah, we talked.
I've never seen that.
You and I
before.
talked about this on the phone. Remember years ago, it was Alvern Londonderry. It was like a 13 versus a 12. Remember
Correct.
that? Yeah.
Yes.
But not a 15. I mean, that's what I said. Like the Goffstown kids had to be like, oh, wait, we have a home game? Like, I mean, they weren't expecting that as a 10 seed. So, and Goffstown had to go in and beat Cole Brown at Cole Brown. That's not an easy place to win. So anyway, to that game, 82-71. John Kesty pulled in this morning and looked at me and said, that was a very entertaining game. He's very well spoken, I would just, be prattling on about something. But 82-71, they combined for 48 points in one of these quarters. Marcus Haynes with a huge night, Casey Gervais, and Goffstown, the Grizzlies, are going on to Durham.
My Grizzlies.
They're gonna play. How many teams do you have? They're gonna play Brady. They're gonna play Brady in the first game on Wednesday night. Why? Explain to me this. Why is Division I playing on Friday night in the quarters and then Wednesday for the semis, and D1 is Saturday, Tuesday? Does that make any sense? So they have fewer days?
I don't know. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And it is my Grizzlies. As I told Jordan Bell and the Giants in the post-game interview, I'm a taxpayer in the town of Goffstown. I live in this town. This is my Grizzlies, especially now that Nashville South is out.
There you go. There yours. Can we? When can we get to the part where I get to rant about a shot clock? When's that happen?
We'll do that a little bit later, because I know that we're destined for a game in the 30s or 40s, especially in that Division III championship game between Conant and Pelham.
Just go watch Campbell Pelham the entire game, and then you tell me if we need a shot clock.
You know
in
what,
New Hampshire.
though?
They have one in Massachusetts, by the way.
It was a fun game to be involved in, despite the fact that it was so pedestrian. But look,
brutal.
I think that shot clock, rant session is a topic for another show, because this is Championship Saturday. We
got Eric Saucier waiting.
We got Sauce on the other side. We got Matt Regan coming up.
We got to get these two to say bad things about each other. Let's spice it up this morning.
Happen.
Now we'll get it.
It won't happen. Congratulations, by the way, to the Londonderry Lancers, the girls. They win it 48-33 over Winnicott last night, Division I Girls Championship game. You got the D2 Girls Championship game tonight. It is Cole Brown, Jen Chick's Cole Brown Bears. They are trying to complete an unbeaten season, and they are going to take on the Lady Grizzlies from my hometown,
Wow,
Goffstown.
big year for Goffstown.
It is a big year for Goffstown. One thing I just want to mention, just from doing all these games, I can't tell you how many people come up to me, Dave, and say, Pete, we love the coverage. We love the radio show. We listen every single Saturday morning. I mean, perfect example. Last Saturday, I'm talking about Harrison Vadrani from Campbell and how I think he's Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. I show up in Newport Saturday night for the quarterfinal game, and there's a bunch of fans there with little printouts, computer printouts of Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. So they knew it was all in fun and everything. People coming up to us and saying, hey, I love the coverage. You guys are great. We can't get enough of it. And we appreciate that. That said, you're also in the middle of the fundraising drive, sort of like a NPR fundraising campaign here. And people, I don't think, realize that it does cost you, Dave Haley, a lot of money out of your own pocket to pay for this website, because it's not like a blog spot website. I mean, this thing is a legit website. Looks like ESPN.com. And it costs, thousands of dollars to keep this up over the course of the year. And it's not a money grab here, this fundraising drive.
No.
We're just trying to support it and break even, because you're spending money out of your own pocket to go to all these games and cover all these games and pay all these people like myself and John Kesty, high-priced talent. And we really need the help. And we know you appreciate it, but we need the support. So please make a donation at nhsportspage.com.
Yeah, I don't know if, maybe we haven't gotten across to some people. I think we have. The people who have donated, it's been incredible. I've interacted with every single one of them. Kevin Wilson, Colby's dad, came up to me and said, I never expected an email like that from you. Thank you so much. We had a great conversation. he said, absolutely, I'm here to support you. Brett Kuchar's mom came up to me, did the same thing. John Kesty was up till 3 o'clock in the morning editing 2 games. And John, I know he looks like he's 28 years old, but he's in his 60s, and he hides it well. And then he had to go to work the next morning. And, Jen Chick is, battling to get out of work early from her job to go to games. And this isn't, I'm not sitting here with a violin. It's just, I don't know if people understand. I think you made a great point that we've done such a good job, and I'm so proud of the way people feel about us and the interaction. Oh, I go to Plymouth, and it's every 10 feet somebody stopped me. And I love it. Every single person, please keep coming up.
It's a nice ego boost, isn't it?
And I know that, when but really the donations have slowed down, and I understand it's sort of like, somebody providing something for you for free for years and years. And it's sort of like somebody who brings in coffee and donuts every morning to the office. And then after 8 years, it's going to be there and you're so excited for it. And then after 8 years, the person says, I need some help with this. Like, I can't do this alone anymore. And it's sort of, you're either going to say, yeah, I appreciate these coffee and donuts you've been doing for all this time and I love it. Or you're going to say, you can keep... That's okay. You can keep bringing those in. I'm going to keep eating them, but so we're trying. And 2 things. Last thing I'll say on this, we have a goal we need to get to, which is kind of internally what we know what it is. If we don't get there, we're not going to go away. But they have to change. Things are going to change. Like, we can't do it this way, and people shouldn't be surprised if down the road things drastically change as far as their ability to see what we're doing and so forth and so on. I mean, that's where we're at. So, again, every person who's donated, they're going to be on the year-end video. We're going to have a year-end party. I can't tell you how much it means to each and every one of us. It really does, every one of them. And I hope more will continue to do so here. We only got a couple weeks left, and, we hope we do because we love it. I can't wait to go to Plymouth and see everybody today. I'm excited.
And if you do go on nhsportspage.com and you click that donate tab, you're going to get big-time access. If you make a donation of $100 or more, you're going to be able to get every single broadcast that we've done, every single game, the full game, play-by-play, post-game, all that, all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, up to 40 or 50 games at this point.
Yeah.
And
you get every game.
Some of these upper echelon teams where we've covered 4 or 5 times, what better way can you savor the memory of your graduating senior than having 4 or 5 games when your kid went off and scored 30, 35 points, drained a game-winning three,
Somebody get
whatever.
Ryan Cloutier one for crying out loud. The kid dunked 4 times on my alma mater.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back with Coach Eric Saucier from the Conant Orioles. Can they go back to back? If they do, they got to go through an unbeaten Pelham Pythons team. It's the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7.
From Manchester West to Winnicott, Central to Somersworth, and Portsmouth to Plymouth, this is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Well, someone I know is heading up to Plymouth. Actually, a couple of guys sitting in this very room are headed to Plymouth for the D4 championship game. Me, I am headed not too far away. Actually, I get to stay in the city of Manchester, driving out to Southern New Hampshire University, about 5 minutes away from my house in Goffstown, which is always nice. And we're going to talk to one of the coaches that is going for a championship in Division III boys basketball here in New Hampshire, Eric Saucier, head coach of the Conant Orioles. He joins us on the phone. Coach Sauce, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing okay. Is waking up on a championship game day different than, a tournament game? Or obviously it is different than a regular season, but how much different is it on a championship day?
It's obviously better. It's the last day, no matter what happens. It's everything you've worked for all year long. It's not. It's hard to get up some mornings when you got 7 a.m. practice on a Saturday, but this morning it wasn't hard to get up at all.
I was with you the rare year when you didn't make it to the Final Four, and we were sitting in the crowd, and you were like, I hate this. You were all antsy. And so, to your credit, I mean, talk about this team. I think it's a lot of fun for Pete and I, because we were there at the Jamboree with you guys, very raw, very inexperienced. I remember going into that Pembroke game, you were like, I hope we don't get blown out. And because you had a very young team, and sort of in one game, we saw all that inexperience, and then all of a sudden how hard these kids could fight. And I remember you coming out of that game. If people don't remember, what Pete was like 14-0 Pembroke,
like 15-0, something like that.
and Conant got it all the way back to like 6, like in the second half. And after that game, you kind of looked at me and we were talking. And you said, "I think I got something here." But talk about like how this group has grown over the year.
Yeah, we started off, like you said, young, and we had a lot of learning to do. It was just a matter of how they were going to come together and how long it was going to take. I mean, I knew it was going to be a process, but each day, our goal was just to get better. I know that sounds cliche, but, we were really working on that. And as the year went on, we were starting to get better. I mean, we started off 1-2, losing to Pelham, losing to Scenic. And then I think it was a point after the Christmas tournament, we started to change things in practice. And the guys started to understand what it was going to take in order to win. And I think that was the turning point.
Talk about the decision to go, because you guys are a man-to-man defense, one of the best in the state, certainly one of the best in Division III. Talk about the decision to go zone, whether it looked like it was a 2-3 at times, looked like it was kind of a matchup zone against Berlin. I know Josh DeGrenier was out. That may have had something to do with it. But talk about that decision and implementing something like that, this late in the season.
Well, so what happened was after our Messina game, I went home that night and I started watching film. And then the next morning I got up and I watched film and talked to my coaches. And without Josh, we weren't as deep. So we had to play. We're not very strong this year as far as overall team, strength-wise besides CJ. So we knew Berlin was big and all that stuff. And I had incorporated it early in the year just in case we would need it. We put it in. I mean, it's the same principle as our man-to-man. Just it's more of a 3-2. And what happened was we used it against Newport to beat them because they were just too strong for us. So we worked on it in practice, and we said for 2 days, and we said, we learned it earlier. So we knew that they like to go to high post to Fodor, and they try to get it down low to Levi. And we knew if we did that 3-2, they would have to make outside shots. And we know Tommy was their best outside shooter, so if we could concentrate on making sure we're going to hand up on him, we thought we'd have a chance. We tried man-to-man. They were too big for us. So we went to the zone, and, it's not my favorite defense to play, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to win, and luckily for us, it worked out.
That's Eric Saucier, head coach of the Conant Orioles. They take on Pelham this afternoon. 3 o'clock tip time, Southern New Hampshire University Division III championship game. The Orioles' third straight trip to the Final Four, third straight trip to the championship game. They won the last 2, looking for number 3 today. Coach, let's talk about bringing DeGrenier back into the mix. He has been your leading scorer all year long. You win without him in the semifinals. What do you have to do to maybe take down the intensity for him, because he's probably going to come out overhyped tonight? Would you think?
I think everybody's going to be hyped. We were just talking yesterday in practice. Last year at this time was when I usually bring up a couple of JV players, come practice with us the last 2 weeks and so on and so forth. And last year, that was JP Record and Brandon Ford. Now they're going to start in the championship game last year, when last year they were at the end of the bench and they were passing out water. Like, that was the joke that they were making yesterday. So I think everybody's going to be hyped. I mean, they should. It's not every day you get to play for a championship. And, we just got to go out and execute the game plan and do what we've done all year.
So talk about Pelham. You've seen them, a ton of film on them. I know you've seen them in person. You've played them twice. I know you and Regan. I'm trying to get you guys to say bad things. He's all over Twitter right now saying horrible things about you, so don't bother reading it. Just take a shot at him right here on the air when people are listening. But, talk about Pelham, and, this has been a team that I know how much you respect them, but I know you guys don't fear them either, and I know you're excited for this one. Just talk about Pelham and, the challenge of trying to beat a team that hasn't lost all season long.
Oh, it's a great challenge, but it's a challenge that we welcome. We're not, like you said, we're not afraid of Pelham. We know they're really good. They have 5 guys that start that know the game. They all can shoot it. They all can score. Everybody talks about Keith, and they should. I mean, in my opinion, he's the player of the year without a doubt. One of the top 2-3 players in the state. And then you got Cloutier. But the other guys, I mean, that's what makes them so effective, is that if you concentrate on Keith and you concentrate on Ryan, Rondo's going to make shots from the corner. Rogers can make shots in Silvestri. I mean, he's just a tough kid. He rebounds. He knows his role. He screens. He takes more charges than anybody in the state. So overall, they're very, very good. But, I mean, I always say in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So, we got a third chance on today. We know it's not going to be easy, but we're going to go in there and give it our all.
The script is flipped this time because you guys are the underdogs.
I
They're
feel
the heavy
like
favorites.
no one's talking about the fact they're going for 3 straight championships. Maybe that's my fault, but
because
it's
they're,
like no
because
one's
they're
talking
the
about-
underdogs. I mean, is that you enjoying the underdog role this
Oh, he
year?
loves it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I mean, nobody's talked about us all year, and that's fine with me. You know, we don't care about the hype. We don't care about the media. I mean, not that you guys don't do a great
Thanks
job.
a lot,
of being great
Coach.
for the kids, but I mean, we just shut up and we play basketball. I mean, that's all the guys really care about. They just want to play, and I mean, we haven't said anything all year, and now we're lucky enough to be playing for a championship. So.
I know that you watched the video and my interview after Pelham's win over Campbell where they had to survive a last-second shot that would have beat them. Coach Regan threw out the challenge. Let's play with a shot clock this afternoon. Are you going to accept that challenge? You going to let them turn on that shot clock at SNU?
If it was any other year, I would take that challenge in a heartbeat, but I cannot take that challenge this year. Oh, it was a good challenge by Maddie. I can't take it this year.
Coach, is it a tie type of game? I was looking at the video from last year's championship, and you were wearing a tie. It was a Conant basketball long sleeve shirt the other night. But is this a formal attire type of game?
No, I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
So
I'm
you
not
don't
sure.
have like people.
I'll guarantee one thing. Matt Regan will look better than I will tonight. He'll look a lot better than
That's
I will.
just because of the earring. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Not everybody can pull that off.
No, and I definitely couldn't.
All right, Coach. Well, we really appreciate it. I can't wait to get out there this afternoon. I know it's going to be an awesome atmosphere, and it should be a lot of fun, and we really appreciate it, and we'll see you out there.
All right. Thank you, and thanks for all you do for the kids.
All right, Eric Saucier from Conant going for back to back to back.
I know.
And you're right. Nobody's talking
No,
about
I
it.
blame myself for that. You know, just everyone's had eyes on Pelham, but I think this is what we wanted, you know, and credit to Campbell for playing such a terrific game the other night, but this is going to be fun today.
All right, our eyes will be on Pelham next as Matt Regan, the coach of the Pythons, will join us next on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Welcome back to the best local coverage of New Hampshire high school basketball. The New Hampshire High School Hoop Show on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Dave, I got to get your opinion. Thumbs up or thumbs down on this rejoinder music because the Watchtower, you know, done by Jimi Hendrix right there. Dave Matthews, and I've been to about 20 Dave Matthews concerts, love him. He does a kick-ass version of this song. So you like it or no? Does it pass the test?
No, I like it. That's the song the Ghost used to play in our apartment in Keene when I lived with 5 guys in Keene.
The Ghost?
Yeah, we had a Ghost. He used to turn on the music in the middle of the night.
All along the Watchtower.
Yeah, it was
the
a weird
ghosts
thing.
are
I'm telling you
watching
right
it.
now, Grove Street in Keene. Beware.
The Watchtower set up Pelham because they're looking for an unbeaten season in New Hampshire.
God, you
They're
know
looking
this.
for the Division III championship. No one wanted them in the league at the start, thought that they did not belong. They were too good. Why are they dropping down? They're a perennial power in D2. Matt Regan, coach of the Pythons. You guys can answer all that criticism today by just going out there and getting the job done and winning the championship. How's that for you on a Saturday morning?
That's a pretty good start. How's it going, guys?
And Coach Saucier says you will outdress him today.
I like to dress up. Yes, I do.
So how are you?
I'll be rocking the pink.
Oh, going with the pink. All right. That's you know, the earring, we already commented on that. Now the pink, it takes a real man to go out on a limb and do something like that. So, Coach, it comes down to this. I think you probably wouldn't have wanted it any other way than to be taking on Conant, you know, really the team in Division III over the years. I mean, is this the way that you kind of wanted it to end?
Yeah, I kind of at the beginning of the year, I assumed after we had played Conant, you know, they were young at the time, but, you know, I saw we've scouted them many times and they've grown throughout the season. And I, with Eric as the head coach, I kind of expected them to kind of make it to that final game. They're a class act program. They've been good forever. You know, that town is a basketball town. So
let's go right to the last possession of the semifinals. Campbell ball. They've got, I mean, I don't know where we start with this, but they missed two. I know where I want to start with this. They missed two shots. Bergeron, I think the last shot was a step back three, but they got the long rebound, and then John Langlois calls timeout. Walk everybody what you said to your team, how you prepared them, how it all played out from your end.
Well, in the timeout, I said, guys, it's pretty simple. I think they're going to hold for one. We have to remember we're up right now. So the last thing we want to do is gamble and give them either Bergeron a take to the basket or that, the dump down that they had been doing to Vedrani all night. I said, so let's really help out on Bergeron and rotate into Vedrani. If they're going to beat us, it's going to be on an outside shot. And I thought our kids did a really good job of not gambling. Zach actually went. He had been going middle all night, and he went baseline, and that kind of shocked me for a second. But David Rogers did an unbelievable job of jumping out. He recognized that he helped, forced him to kick back to Vedrani at the high post, and I forget who came in, but somebody came in off the side to stop him from going left, and then he kicked it out to Shaw, and that's how it ended.
Is that the first time in your life you've held your breath for 47 seconds?
I just said I don't know how that shot didn't go in.
Was it an out-of-body experience?
With my luck, that shot has gone in 100 out of 100 times. So the fact that it didn't go in was, I took a pretty good breath after that.
Coach, when you hear news from around the state in tournament action that major upsets are taking place. I mean, in your old Division 2, Manchester West looked like a wagon, looked like they were destined for the Final Four. They lose in the first round to a 15 seed, and they were controlled throughout that game. And then Manchester Central the next night gets beat, or 2 nights later or whatever, gets beat by Nashua North, another 15 seed, and Central was 17-1 as well, and defending champs. And then you go through what you went through the other night at SNU. I mean, how lucky do you feel to be able to survive when those other teams couldn't?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you never go into game thinking you're just automatically going to win anymore. Like, I think that, is 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you could probably say that the top 4 teams are going to make it through the tournament, no problem. But I think the state of New Hampshire basketball, there's been a lot of improvement from multiple teams, and 15 seeds and 14 seeds and 13 seeds have some pretty good players on those teams. So if they shoot well that night and you don't shoot particularly well, then you could be in trouble.
Talk about Conant. One thing I watched, I had my daughter, so I wasn't able to be there in person, but I got to watch the whole game, the Northeast Sports Network. My buddy Kevin Trask, Butch Ladd do a great job covering that game. So I got to watch the whole game. And what stood out to me, besides how well C.J. Bilodeau and Brandon Ford played down low, was the shooting and the confidence of Simeon Hodgson and J.P. Record. These are a couple kids that 4 weeks ago, they couldn't make jumpers, and that was the problem for this Conant team. They couldn't shoot. And if Eric's ever had a problem with Conant, it's that they're not a great shooting team. The other night, those kids were pumping in jumpers. They were bouncing around on the floor. I feel like Simeon Hodgson having his brother Eli on the sideline has helped him, makes him more comfortable, more confident. But what did you see? What are you looking at today? And is that something you would agree with, that these kids looked real confident the other night shooting the ball?
Well, I said that to my assistant as we were watching the game. I said, wow, look at these guys. They look like they've played in their veterans of state championships as guys that have played. I think that has a lot to do with Eric, just the confidence he gets into those guys, and and it's just, like I said, it's just when you look at their bench during games and the way they are over there, there's just a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. Guys are involved in the game. It's always, it doesn't matter who goes in the game. They put in a kid that I hadn't seen in the game all year, and he went in there and got a nice steal and, had a pretty good pass up at the other end. That's someone that I hadn't seen play all year. So I think, they've got so many guys that can play, and then to go along the confidence that's brought into them by Eric, I think, that's always a recipe for success.
Matt Regan and Pelham taking on Conant this afternoon, 3 o'clock, Southern New Hampshire University Division III championship game. Coach, let's talk about one of your outgoing seniors, Ryan Cloutier, who We started hearing last year about his improvement. He's getting bigger. Now he's 6'5". He's very long. He's got downtown type of range. Can stick the three. And I love the high-flying dunks when he's able to get out on the break. Talk about how this kid has really blossomed, especially this year, his senior year.
He's gone to another level in terms of basketball ability. I think he kind of made the decision mentally that basketball was going to be, probably the biggest priority in his life. It was during the summertime he started to get some college coaches coming up to him and saying, wow, we really like your potential. We really like what we think you could do in college. And I think that light bulb kind of went on. And he's really worked hard at his game. He's one of the nicest, most humble kids I've ever been around. I mean, for a kid that's had 40-plus dunks this year, he's never
40-plus dunks.
Yeah, he's never.
I think they're all against Guilford. Every single one of them felt like it.
He's never celebrated on one of them. I mean, he just goes about his business. He's a great kid. He's a great leader, great captain, and I couldn't be any happier for him with his future in basketball and what he's been able to accomplish up to this point.
Speaking of Cloutier, today being the last game of the season for you, one way or the other, the Seacoast basketball tournament starts in 10 days. How do you feel about the fact that you are, after today, turning Ryan Cloutier and Keith Brown over to head coach Dave Haley? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like everything you've taught them is going to go out the window in 3 or 4 games under me?
Potentially.
I'm going to tell Cloutier, dunk everything you see. I'm going to tell Keith Brown, you do whatever you want to do out there. That's my coaching for those guys. You're handing those guys to me. I'll take good care of them. Don't you worry about it.
All right.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the program. Really looking forward.
I want to give a shout out to my buddy Sean Young and his Epping boys. Wish them good luck today. We were hanging out at the Classy Edge in Pelham last night. They were getting team haircuts. They came all the way down to Pelham to get haircuts.
Wow. And they were at the game. I saw Colby Wilson. I saw Sean at the game the other night at SNU. So, look, Dave's trying to pull off the double-double here. He's doing the game in Plymouth. That game tips at noon. And then after the game, he plans on being at SNU in the gym to watch you guys play.
Sean's been texting me feverishly the entire show, so he's listening. He's ready. He's ready to go. He's angry I didn't pick Wilton. He's trying to put bulletin board material out there for the boys.
All right, Coach. Good luck. We'll see you out there at the Penman Fieldhouse in a little while.
All right, thanks, guys.
Matt Regan from Pelham. Looking for a championship. Should be a lot of fun. We'll take a timeout. We'll go around the state, talk a little bit about some of the games from last night, and we'll look ahead at some of the games today.
Division 1.
We got the 2 championship games, D3 and D4, and then the quarterfinals in Division 1. We'll touch on all those games when we return. New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, News Radio 610 and 96.7.
These guys know their high school basketball. It's the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show with Pete Terrier and Dave Haley on News Radio 610 and 96.7.
Birthday shout out. No, he's not 17. He's 18 years old today. Dylan Silvestri from the Pelham Pythons turns 18 today on Championship Saturday. So happy birthday to you, Dylan. Some of the games from last night. I was at the Bishop Brady Wyndham game. Brady rolled over the Wyndham Jaguars 71-47. I was a little bit surprised. Wyndham didn't give more of a challenge to Bishop Brady. Brady's going to take on my team, the Goffstown Grizzlies, my hometown team. I'm excited for Goffstown that they're making it to the Final Four. I'm excited that I'm going to be able to cover that game on video on Wednesday night at UNH. So will I be biased like you do at a Guilford game?
Don't break your ankle jumping on that bandwagon. Jesus.
The 9-9 Goffstown Grizzlies, the 10 seed, they're making it to the Final Four.
That's right.
The other Final Four matchup, Portsmouth, the 1 seed, taking on Lebanon. Lebanon beats Merrimack Valley last night, 67-54. Awesome atmosphere in Lebanon last night.
Always is. They packed it. And Merrimack Valley, I heard, brought a lot of people up there. So, yeah, that's great. That's a rematch of a lot of different guys in this game this year. Both are young teams, which shows you, like you mentioned, Jim Mulvey and Keith Matty just have programs. But that was a very testy semifinal game last year. But I think a lot of those guys have graduated. Speaking of which, I saw Donovan Fenor last night. He was at the game. So
he was?
He is at Stonehill. Yeah, I could talk to him for a bit.
And you said it was awesome last night in Portsmouth.
Yeah, it was a good atmosphere. They come out for the quarters. That's when they show up. All of a sudden, there was 200 students there. Yeah, there was a lot of people there last night. And that's a big place, too. So,
yeah.
Stone Gymnasium. So, yeah, no, it was a good game. Portsmouth just too much for Hanover.
All right, let's talk quickly about the championship game you're going to. Epping, Wilton, Limeboro. You picked Wilton at the beginning of this thing. I'm leaning towards Epping. It's funny because I was in the Conant locker room after the game the other night, and of course they're asking me, who you got on Saturday? And they, it was like, we don't even know who you're going to play yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously I think Pelham's the favorite in that game, but what about your game today?
I like Epping in this. They beat them twice during the season. Remember, they beat them badly without Jordan Litz. I just think Sean Young, with a week to prepare, it can be a huge difference maker. He has so many different weapons, and he has so much depth. And my man, Colby Wilson, has to be guarded 40 feet from the basket. You've got to get on him.
How about that shot he hit the other night?
Oh, my goodness.
Did you see my tweet? I said Customs has arrived on campus at Plymouth State because Colby Wilson just hit one from Canada.
You know what's funny? I had no idea Jackson Rivers had 20 points until after the game. I mean, it was I knew he played well, but they've got a lot of depth. I think they're coming together at the right time. They've been here before. Certainly Wilton can win this game. I think it's going to be a terrific final. It's going to be the Jordan Litz show, and if he pulls in 2-3 defenders, then he's got those guys on the wings, and how Ty Carrier does down low against No, it's Trey Carrier. Down low against Brett Kuchar would be something to watch.
And we've already covered the D3 championship game at length, having both coaches on. So let's go to the D1 quarterfinals.
Does Merrimack have a chance to beat Londonderry? Do you think they can do it? Third time.
I think they have a chance. I mean, Merrimack is just one of those teams that gives you problems. The defensive effort that they put forth. Can they score enough? Austin Franzen's going to need to really step up. I think this kid, Ian Roberts, is playing well. Dylan Richardson, very underrated. I like Zach Kerr a lot as well. I think they have a chance, but I think Londonderry now, they smell blood in the water with Central being knocked out. You know, this could be a potential. I don't know what's going to happen between Pembroke and Pinkerton, but imagine Londonderry and Pinkerton going at it for the championship game. That would be crazy.
Yeah, I think Pembroke's got a legitimate chance to beat Pinkerton today. I was obviously at that first meeting. Pembroke turned it over a ton. Pinkerton really has been playing very well, under the radar, playing very well of late. Geo Baker is back. I think that's kind of maybe the game of the night. Trinity at home against North. I think North's got a chance to beat those guys. You know, North is. I think I mentioned.
I think North will win that game.
Okay, I bumped into Steve Lane at the Wilton game. He was watching his son Casey, and Jen and I were waiting to interview the Wilton kids. They were in the locker room, and I said, "So how you doing? How you feeling?" He goes, "When we had Brennan Cassins, I think they were something like 5-4, and when when he got hurt, we were 1-8. We had no post presence. We already were small, and so they never were a real 15 seed. And then you take." I got 100 texts the next day. How did Central lose? How did Central lose? They didn't have Amaro Conte. I mean, he's the leading. Kid scores 20 points a game, and
it happened like basically right before the game. They found out they wasn't going to, and that messes up your mindset.
Yeah, and Joey Martin has to play center for that team. I think Doc Wheeler just did a tremendous job. So that will be another one to watch as well.
Quick story about Steve Lane. I was sitting right next to the Lane, in the middle of the Lane family, as a matter of fact. I offered to move, but they said, no, you were sitting in between us in the first half, and we're winning, so you stay right here. But I said to Steve Lane as I was following on Twitter, I'm like, Manchester West, the 15 seed, is going to beat them. And he's like, I hope it's contagious, because he was a 15 seed.
He said it to me at Plymouth.
And a couple days later,
I saw him.
The same thing happened, so lightning struck twice. All right, it's been a great show, very fast-paced show. You better come in and do the show next week.
I'll be here. I'm headed north right now.
All right, Dave going up to Plymouth. He'll have coverage along with Sam Natty, the Lisbon coach of the Division IV championship game. Me and Jen Chick. John Kesty is going up with Dave to Plymouth, and then me and Jen Chick will be at SNU to cover D3 championship game. And then tonight, I am headed, without the video camera, down to Pinkerton for Pembroke and Pinkerton. Should be a lot of fun. And then semifinals, Tuesday and Wednesday, back-to-back. Championship Saturday, next Saturday. Wow. 20 games in 21 days, almost at the end. For Jeremy Mahaney, our producer, for John Kesty, for Dave Haley, my name's Pete Terrier. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.